Live. Hello, welcome to School of Dramatic Arts. This would be the online summer orientation session for those who cannot attend summer orientation for transfer students. We will begin right away with the presentation. This PowerPoint presentation will be forwarded to each student so that they can reference it, as well as being recorded through a YouTube channel so that you can go ahead and use the link to find the stream. We will discuss how to succeed here at the School of Dramatic Arts. We are your cast. My name is Daniel Leyva. I advise students last names that begin with letters A through K.
And I'm Isaac Vigilla. I'd work with the students with the last names L through Z.
Each student's advisement begins essentially with this presentation. This presentation is also known as academic expectations during orientation. So in this presentation, we will have a lot of information specifically to the university as a whole, requirements, etc., specifics to the department and theater majors, as well as registration, the registration process. Our home away from home is in the DRC, which is the Drama Center, Suite 104. That's our main office, but that is the main hub where you will find our counseling suite, as well as the dean, vice dean, assistant dean, call boards, and other important dramatic arts pieces that you may need. Oh, well, hi. Welcome.
Hey.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes. The other thing was playing. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And who do we have joining us?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm Katie. Sorry.
Hi, Katie.
Great.
Katie Newsom?
Yes.
Perfect.
Cool. So we kind of already started, Katie, but we didn't get into very much. Again, welcome. If people pop in and they'll join us, that's fine. This is being recorded, so it'll allow those students who were not able to log in to stream this later. You can certainly stream it later and look it up and view it if you'd like and pause, etc. But we've just started, so welcome. I'm Daniel. Isaac's the other advisor. He'll be presenting shortly. I'll be going through Act 1, which basically talks about the university as a whole. And then we'll go from there, okay? There will be time for questions at the end, so if you have any questions, feel free to jot them down. And again, you will get this information through an email with specifics on all of the pieces, a lot of these pieces that you'll see, including the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll start with Act 1, the university. Now here at the USC, you are required to complete 128 units total to complete your degree. Again, it just depends on how long you plan on being here. If you're here for about 3 years, then again, the goal is to average between 16 to 18 units per semester. But as long as you reach the 128 units, again, that's with the combination of units that you transferred in, as well as what you complete here. Now, of those 128 units, you must complete 32 units of upper division coursework. Those 32 units are not in addition to 128, they're part of the 128. Okay. Now, I would not worry about searching for upper division units to complete your degree. Many of them are already built into your program, as well as in a couple of GEs, occasionally general education courses are also upper division, so they'll apply to that 32 units. Okay, so don't work too hard to look for them. They should be relatively easy to find.
Okay.
Pass, no pass. There is a pass, no pass option here at the university. It allows you to change the letter grade option to pass, no pass if you choose. Now, most students don't use very many of those pass, no pass options, but you're welcome to use up to 24 units. There are some limitations, though. Just keep that in mind. You can only use 4 units for a general education requirement. And that's only 4 units for one general education requirement in all the time that you're here. So not per semester. In other words, you can use it for one of your GE categories in your third semester, but that's it. That's just for that one GE. Okay, the rest have to be completed with the letter grade option. In addition to that, you must complete your writing requirements, your major and potential minor requirements all must be done with the letter grade as well. Okay, so just keep a note on that. You want to make sure you get credit for those things. But you might be considering a minor. If you're considering a minor and you haven't declared it yet, I would recommend that you take that class for a letter grade, right? So that it does count for the minor if you do eventually add it later.
Oh, I'm Katie. Sorry.
Hi, Katie.
Yes.
Some playback. So we kind of already started, Katie, but we didn't get into very much.
I think someone has a YouTube window open.
If people pop in and
Oh yeah, I was like, what is that?
It's okay.
So it'll allow those students who were
So
not
Katie, you can leave the Hangout open, but just close the window with the YouTube.
later. You can certainly stream later and look it up and view it if you like, pause, etc. But we've just started, so welcome. I'm Daniel. Isaac's the other advisor. He'll be presenting shortly. I'll be going through Act 1, which basically talks about the university.
Is someone else? Do we have someone else other than Katie?
No, that's it.
Okay.
It's just Katie. Katie, can you close your YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions, feel free to jot them down. And again, you will get this information through an email with specifics on all the pieces.
Oh, it's playing in my other browser.
Yeah. Do you have the? Go ahead and close that one.
Okay. I had to download like a million things of software to get this to work.
We're good? All right. Sounds like we're good. Okay. So where was I? Yes. Now, if you have a foreign language requirement, which we'll get to, and we'll show you the specifics on that, you can actually take your foreign language classes here at USC with the Pass No Pass. 1 level, 2 levels, all 3 levels if you need them. Just FYI, that you can take with the Pass No Pass option. Now, whenever you're changing courses to the Pass No Pass option, make sure you do that by the 3rd week of classes. That's the 3rd Friday. That 3rd Friday of every semester is when you should add classes. By then, you should add classes, drop classes, change your letter grade options. Make sure you do all of those changes prior to or by the 3rd Friday of each semester. Okay. The grade point average here is just to make sure that we keep at or above the 2.0. You are required to meet with your advisor every semester, so we keep an eye on this. We check your schedule, we check your grades, make sure your GPA is above this. If we're ever getting close to that, we'll certainly discuss what the issue is, what are the issues, what's affecting that. There could be many factors. If there's other additional resources we should refer you to, we will do that as well. We just don't want a student to get into a situation where they potentially could be disqualifying themselves from the university. Now, you fall under. Let me see. So, our 2 GE groups are those students, because our GEs changed in the fall of 2015. So, if you started college before fall 2015, right? In other words, you could graduated in 2013, 2012. If you started college anytime before fall 2015, you would fall into the GE categories, Roman numerals 1 through 6. Now, if you graduated college fall 2015 or after, and I'm sorry, if you began college fall 2015 or after, you would be in the core literacies, also identified by alpha letters. So that's the difference. I don't have your specifics on you, but can you identify your group already?
Yeah, I started in 2016.
Right. So there you go. So, and a lot of the students coming in are in that situation, but some will fall under the before fall 2015. Therefore, they'll do those other categories. So it just depends on which ones you identify with based on when you graduated, when you started college. Okay, and that's clearly identified in your STARS report and when you log in. So definitely look that up, and your advisor will share that with you as well. Briefly, the foreign language requirements. So everybody who's a BA or a BA student within our department is required to meet the 3rd level proficiency in a foreign language. And there are multiple ways of doing this. The one way would be to complete all 3 levels of one language. As I referenced earlier, if you wanted to use the pass no pass option, you could do that. You would assign the pass no pass option from the letter grade option for all of those 3 letters if you choose. Earning a C- or better gets you the passing grade. You check that box off, you do it 3 times, you complete level 1, 2, and 3. Now it's 3 levels of one language. Okay, so pick a language. It would not be 1 level of 3 different languages. Okay, it has to be 3 levels of one language. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do that would be to, let's say you have a history in a certain language. I speak French. I have quite some history. I end up taking a placement exam. When I arrive, I earn a placement level 3, let's say French 3. I complete French 3 in the fall. I'm done with my foreign language requirement. Why? Because I've met the 3rd level proficiency. Okay. And finally, APs. So even though you've been at another campus for the last year or 2, you certainly can transfer in AP courses, AP exam scores, I should say, from those courses. As long as you've earned a 4 or 5 in a language, lit, or culture exam for a foreign language, such as French or Spanish, you would earn the equivalency to that and proficiency to that 3rd level of the language. So if you have something like that, make sure you send it in. Now we're moving on to the writing requirement. Now some transfer students satisfy the writing 150 equivalent prior to arriving. There are 2 core requirements in writing that are required here at USC. The writing 150 equivalent that is transferred in from other campuses is typically identified as writing 130. So if you see that in your transfer credit report, that would be the equivalent of writing 150. The advanced writing class must be completed here at USC, and that is typically found in your junior, possibly end of your junior, beginning of your senior year, but it's flexible. You as a student can place that anywhere you like. Transfer policies, pretty straightforward. You want to make sure that all of those items that you want to matriculate to USC, make sure that you get them done ASAP. You want to get them in by the end of the 1st semester. That includes any courses that you've completed outside of USC. So making sure that your transfer credit report is clear and has all of that information is important. And then one item that you can transfer in, even though once you arrive at USC, you must complete all of your GEs here at USC once you start school here. But the one item that you can bring in would be the diversity element, which we can go into detail with your advisor, but as well as the foreign language. That's probably the bigger one. So let's say I placed into level 1 of French. I can take 1 and 2 this year. So 1 in the fall, 2 in the spring, and I could potentially take level 3 if offered off campus. As long as USC allows that course to transfer in, I can certainly do that outside of USC, maybe back home, and transfer it back to USC. Okay, so something to think about. Now, drama. Okay, you'll see that we're highlighting 4 different programs or 4 areas. 3 are BA programs. Then the BFA has several programs underneath it. Now, all of our BA students come in as BA Dramatic Arts with the 54-unit responsibility. There are a couple of BA programs that we call emphasis programs that you can certainly jump into if you wanted to. And this can be a decision that you make as soon as you arrive. You can make it within the first few months. Certainly a conversation to have with your advisor, and you can certainly look into these as well. Just keep in mind, obviously you see the jump in units. If let's say if you wanted to focus on acting, the jump in units is 13 units, so it's quite a jump. So something to think about, especially if you're only planning on being here a certain amount of time. Will it allow you to complete that, along with exploring other items and areas that you're interested in? So something to discuss with your advisor. The other thing to consider is just note that typically the 2 courses that you enroll in, or maybe one of the courses that you transfer in, those are typically ones that apply towards the emphasis as well as the BA. So the track that you'll be on in the fall, in 90% of the cases, will apply to both programs. So you won't go astray. Okay, if that's a change you want to make, you certainly should discuss that with your advisor. And this is just a brief glimpse as to what those 2 programs look like. They're kind of the middle ground between the BFA and the BA. Okay, again, the increased unit value can sometimes put students behind the 8 ball and sometimes won't really help them matriculate in time. But this is kind of an assessment that you'll have to make based on what you transferred in, what year you're here. If you're a sophomore, maybe more likely. If you're a junior, it might be a little more difficult. But every student's situation is unique. Okay. Okay. So as I said before, the BA Dramatic Arts, this is essentially the schedule here, the fall 2018. On your left-hand side, it's 18 units of coursework. That would be the maximum you're allotted per semester with your tuition. And so anything beyond 18 would require extra tuition, so keep that in mind. So these are the typical first 2 classes, Theater 101 and Theater 125, that are typically assigned and completed in the first semester here. Now, sometimes students will bring in equivalencies, especially our transfer students, because they're coming from other campuses. They may have done an intro to acting class or a acting fundamentals or something like that. That would be something that is petitionable. In other words, a transfer credit petition could be submitted in place of that. We as advisors have reviewed that already, and so we've at least identified courses that could potentially satisfy one or the other or both of those first 2 initial classes. We would advise you to first submit a petition, which we can walk through. And in addition to that, we will suggest a course to place in that slot that you remove. So let's say Theater 101, very typical, transferred in. We remove that course. The student will petition that course through our department, and we will instruct you on how to do that. And in place of 101, you might bring in an intermediate acting class, okay, something like that. So we'll recommend some of those. Along with that, you have a GE course. In addition to, again, you're completing your general education courses. In addition to that, it would either be another GE course or the foreign language requirement. Now, if you take a placement exam and you test into a higher level, we would highly recommend that you take your GE course with that foreign language level 2 or 3. Why? So you can address it sooner, get it over with. You don't lose the skill. You don't wait a semester or 2 and lose the skill. So that would be, we would encourage to do that sooner rather than later. Okay. Now, mind you, you won't be able to take a placement exam until welcome week, but as soon as you arrive, we would recommend that you take the placement exam. The results will come to you very quickly within the day or 2. In fact, we will get those as well, so we'll know what they are in case you can't find it or you don't know what it is. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll let you know what level you place into, and then you can go ahead and drop your GE and add that foreign language class so that your schedule will include the foreign language, a GE, and your theater courses. Spring is here too. It's just at a glance what spring looks like. Again, this would vary depending on what students transfer into the university. If you've completed your foreign language in the fall, you won't need to continue that. Then you would instead of doing the foreign language for the spring as well, you would do a GE and then a Writing 150 equivalent. Now, as I said before, many of the transfer students satisfy Writing 150 in their at their previous campus. They would remove Writing 150 as a result and put in a different GE. The goal is to satisfy those GEs within the first couple of semesters, if not semester 2. I mean, first year and a half. Now, as a BFA student, occasionally transfer students will come in as BFA actors or designers. The BFA structure is very rigid, so the theater programs are specific. The rose-colored are the required courses for the BFA actors in their year 1 of the program as they transfer in. In addition to that, they would do the first semester. They would do 2 GE courses. Foreign language is not required of the BFA students, so that's precisely why there's GE and only writing requirements in addition to their BFA courses. BFA production is very similar to that.
But we don't have one.
No, we don't have them. Very good. Trivia time. Quick question. So what GE requirements do you have if you started school before fall 2015? And this is a question for everyone, especially those who will view the recording. Is it alpha letters or Roman numerals? The answer would be Roman numerals. So anybody who started school before fall 2015 would follow the GE or the general education requirements that are identified as Roman numerals 1 through 6. Anybody starting fall 2015 or after, in other words, you've begun college fall of 2015 or after, you would follow the alpha letters, and those are letters A through H, essentially. How do you access your student information? Now, the online academic student information system is available to you through the homepage at usc.edu, but essentially it's OASIS is where you would find all of these bullet points. The ones that we really focus on would be the STARS report, which is your student academic record. On there, you'll see what program is identified, your post, your program of study, units you've completed, you've transferred in, units that you're currently enrolled in, and anything that's remaining. It'll list the requirements that still remain for your GEs, for your BA or BFA program, as well as any other programs you decide to add, such as a minor. So we reference that every time we previous to meeting with you so that we know what to discuss and what we're going to discuss for the coming semester, whether it be fall or spring or as we move on every semester. One other item I'd like to share with you all is the guest access, and we'll go to the next slide. Guest access is pretty key. You will occasionally get phone calls from family members to say, hey, my son or daughter brought in a D and they've never ever shared that they've gotten a D in their life, and I'd like to discuss that. We'll definitely entertain a conversation with a family member, but we need to make sure that that person has access to your account. And the only person to grant that would be the student. So have that conversation with whomever you feel is closest to you or was requesting that access, and you can grant that access through OASIS. Keep in mind some of the topics that are discussed are clearly listed on the slide here, and it's really about school. Because we're counselors, we wear many hats. A lot of conversations occur in our offices, but some conversations are a little more public, such as the ones you see on the screen. Others are just within really the walls of our offices, and we try to maintain confidentiality when it comes to students. So just to make sure that students know that they're protected. So definitely have a conversation with whomever if you're seeking to offer them guest access, and you can see what we discuss in the event that they do call. A tuition refund insurance is something that a student can opt into or decline. This is always going to be presented through web registration. So when you log into web registration, it'll inquire whether or not you're going to opt in or opt out of tuition refund. It's essentially insurance for your investment. It is up to 100% of your tuition and fees that can be protected with this tuition refund. It's I think it's $6 and some change per unit. It is entirely up to you, but it is only effective for injuries, documented injuries or illnesses that will remove you from the campus for whatever reason. So week 1, week 6, week 12, whenever that occurs, it can certainly protect that investment. So it still requires a claim like any other insurance claim, but it would have to be a documented illness or an accident. So something to consider. Also a topic you should consider to have a conversation with those around you and your family. Now, transfer credit, this is big. The Transfer Credit Services Office determines what courses come into the university, how they transfer, whether it's just units or if it satisfies a specific requirement. We really, really want to encourage students to have all of these official transcripts to USC as soon as possible, definitely within the first semester, so that they can evaluate them and assign credit where it's due. At times, the course will come in as a specific GE. At times, they'll come in as electives. If at any point in time a student wants to submit a petition for an additional review because the course came in just as an elective, but they would like potentially to have it satisfy a GE, that is possible as well. But we would need you to get that transcript into the university ASAP. Now, I talk a little bit about petitions. the first year on the left-hand side is your GE or elective credit. When you transfer courses in, if they have already been reviewed, they will apply. They will designate, the university will designate them as satisfying a specific item or elective units. At times, of course, we'll come in to the university. The student says, well, no, it should have satisfied a GE. You can certainly submit a petition through OASIS. It's known as an articulation petition, whereby the university will review that course and determine whether or not it can or cannot satisfy a general education requirement. If you need some support with this, definitely let your advisors know when you arrive in the first few weeks. Definitely review your TCR, or also known as your transfer credit report, for these specifics. This must be done by the end of the first semester. Anytime a student waits beyond that, the university may opt to close the window, and therefore wherever the credit is assigned, that's where it stays. The other credit, or the other petition, would be through your theater major. So let's say a course has already arrived at USC, it's been transferred over, it is in your TCR, or also known as your transfer credit report. It sits there, it's great. If it happens to be a theater course, like I said earlier, sometimes students will transfer in a intro to theater course. We do not want or wish that we don't wish that you repeat that course here as well. So what we do is, if it appears in your transfer credit report, we encourage you to petition to have that course substitute the requirement that is here at USC. So again, I'll take that intro to acting class from a local community college or a university somewhere else. We'll use our paperwork, our forms, we'll submit the petition, and then within a week or two, we see that you've satisfied that because of the content in that class. We will then substitute the incoming class for a core requirement in your program. However, this will require the transfer credit petition form to be completed. And I keep thinking the most important element to this is a syllabus. You want to make sure that you gather up all of those syllabus ASAP. Now, the transfer credit petition. This is a sample of it. We will provide samples of it, or you can receive them here on campus. But essentially, this is where you would submit the syllabus, and then specifically describing the course at that other campus, and then what you're seeking to satisfy with that course, the course that's located here as well. So essentially, that's what that is. AP exams. You may have to go back a few years, but if you completed an AP exam and earned credit, and you earned a score of 4 or 5, you can certainly earn credit here at USC. It would be in the form of an elective credit, which is 4 units per score of 4 or 5 exam, or potentially satisfying a specific requirement. Now, if you've completed, Ivy work, excuse me, any score of 5 or higher, any score of 5 or above on a higher level exam will earn you 6 elective units. Now, it would be that or 20 units with the Ivy diploma with a score of 30 or higher. So it really depends on which one, but it would end up resulting in elective units for your overall unit completion. So at the university, we are your first line of defense. Isaac and I are the only 2 advisors that are assigned to each student. And so we're the first contact whenever students need support. We are located in the SDA Academic and Student Services Office. We also have the dean, vice dean, assistant dean, our call boards. We have our counseling suite, internship opportunities. We all have these items within our department for theater. Now, however, sometimes students need to branch out a little bit. Additional support might be required. We encourage students to get involved and to get to know the academic support network here at USC. It extends from tutoring to time management, organizational skills, academic coaching, writing support. So it really extends to in a lot of different areas. So if you need that support, you definitely have that here to use. If a student has ever had an accommodation or disability, that's something that also can be assessed here. And a student can register so that they can take advantage of those accommodations should they have them or ever need them. They can certainly utilize them. We have an office for that as well. Now, the Engelman Student Health Center, it is located here on campus. Fairly new facility. Again, medical, dental, there's also counseling and therapy services there available to students. So at any point in time, I think students should certainly take advantage of that facility. Again, medical, dental, there's also counseling and therapy services there. Gianluca, I see you're joining us. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Have the Hangout open, but you close the YouTube. Sounds like you're getting some feedback. Gianluca, I see you're joining us. Welcome.
Hi.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yes, I can hear.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome, Gianluca. We're going to continue on. Again, this is being recorded, so you can reference it later, okay?
Yeah, I was watching it on YouTube. I was having trouble connecting.
Awesome. We're moving on to resources for you. So we're moving on to student affairs. It's student affairs. You have, it's the university as a whole. Yes, they deal with a lot of judicial issues, but at the same time, they also deal with leadership for the university. They're very devoted in making sure that our students develop not only professionally, but also academically and just their own personal development as well. So a lot of opportunities, both for career involvement, networking, career fairs, job fairs, and then getting involved with various organizations and groups, honor societies, etc. Now, student organizations, there is a Greek life here, but there's also a lot of other items as well. Very many clubs. There's about 850 different clubs that the university is very proud of. So definitely a lot to offer here, and not just in theater. Theater students tend to, get involved with a lot of items within the theater school and cinema school, but there's a lot to get involved with around the campus as well. Now, a quick trivia question. What might two support systems or two support resources be? Can you toss a couple out from the previous slide? If you recall. Well, one would be the Engelman Student Health Center, but those are the 5, yeah. So just keep those in mind. If you ever need them, let us know. We can certainly refer you to them as well. Are there any questions so far?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it. What's up?
So you were talking about work opportunities and networking, and I wonder how does that work for an international student who's under a visa? Would I have also opportunities to do some activities outside the university, or is that restricted?
For work-wise?
No, I just maybe internships.
Oh, yeah. No, there are opportunities for students who are both international and domestic. So it just depends on the opportunity. I think sometimes when I brought up work, sometimes some jobs have restrictions where they might be work study, and international students don't qualify for work study per se. But it doesn't mean that every job on campus or every program on campus is just for domestic students. So there's definitely opportunities for everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. If you have more questions, feel free to jot them down, write them down, and we'll get back to some more opportunities later for questions. I'm going to pass this on to Isaac. Isaac will take care of Act 2 of Dramatic Arts.
All right, so I'll talk a little bit about the SDA Student Portal. It's a one-stop shop website that we've created for our students. We'll talk about how to start building relationships with our faculty members, as well as how to audition and get involved with our SDA productions. We've created some new initiatives, and I'll talk a little bit about those, as well as our expectations for all of our SDA students. This right here is a screenshot of our SDA student portal. The website is sdastudents.usc.edu. Please remember this website. You will be using this quite a bit during your time here at USC. There's a lot of information on here, including information on our program and department, the Academic Student Services quick links to programs, services, information about advising and how to come in and when to come in, as well as information on registration. Copies of all of our orientation materials are found online, as well as some other forms that you may need, including copies of the transfer credit petition form that some of you may be using to petition for previous transfer courses. Here at USC, every department has the ability to reserve, or what we call department clear, or D-clear for short, certain courses. So as you're going through the schedule of classes, you'll notice some courses in the section number marked with a D, some of them are marked with an R. R typically just means regular enrollment. D stands for department clearance. So in any situation, if you're trying to register for a D clearance course, normally you would have to contact that department directly. If you're seeking D clearance for one of our courses, you can submit an online request on the SDA student portal. We have quick links to a lot of USC resources, including the 5 pillars of support that Daniel mentioned earlier in Act 1. We also post and announce the Great Audition Memo, and I'll talk about what that is in a second. We have information about scholarships, SDA awards, and other professional scholarships, including information on professional development. So we have our own internship program through the School of Dramatic Arts. And our Director of Internships, Megan Laughlin, has a page dedicated to internships for our students, including external job and casting offers, as well as a page on course promotion if we're trying to push one of our new courses or a course from another department. You can find that online there. Like I said, you will be using this quite a bit. If you have any questions about services or programming, there's a good chance that you might be able to find your answer on the SDA student portal. So go ahead, remember, use it, bookmark it, and save it. Faculty and student relationships. As you may know, a lot of our faculty members are working professionals. So they'll come to class and teach and go straight to their show or theater group or casting agency, wherever they're working. But they love it. They absolutely love it when students come in to talk to them. As you know, you will receive a course syllabus for every course. And listed on this syllabus will be their office hours, which is when they're available outside of class. We encourage all of our students to use these office hours, meet with them at least twice every semester, maybe the first time at the beginning of the semester, just introduce yourself outside of class. But also maybe after a major midterm or paper, just to make sure that you're okay and you're on track. And if you have any course questions, any questions at all, please, please, please use them. Use your TA if you have any. They're definitely there to help. So, you know, if let's say you get a prompt that you don't really understand, use your office hours and talk to them, try and get some clarification, help, or assistance, or anything that you need. Here's a couple screenshots for our last 2 seasons here at the School of Dramatic Arts. As you may know, we're known for our main stage production. So at the beginning of every semester, we announce what we call the Great Audition Memo, and that lists every SDA main stage show as well as all information about auditioning and preparing for the audition. Now, we haven't sent this out yet, but we will be emailing out to all SDA students very shortly. Now, as transfer students, you may audition for SDA shows this semester, or right now. Now, if you do audition and you are cast in a main stage show, you must register for Theater 397 Theater Practicum. This is a 2-unit upper division course that will fulfill requirements for your major. So it's a great way to get letter grade and credit for your participation in a main stage show. Now, you're also eligible to audition for an independent student production, or ISP for short. These are student-run, student-funded, student-directed shows that are separate from our main stage shows. ISP shows do not carry any credit and are not officially associated with the School of Dramatic Arts. Now, if you just want to watch some of our main stage shows, all SDA students are eligible for Rush tickets. But you do need to place a Rush sticker on your USC ID. We do hand out these stickers at the all-school meeting during the first week, and they're also available in our main office in DRC 104. You must put the sticker on your USC ID, and it's a great way to watch main stage shows for free. So essentially, you just show up to the show on the day that you'd like to watch the show. Let them know that you're requesting a rush ticket, and then you show them your ID with the sticker on it. These are 8 of the new initiatives created by Dean David Bridell. The first one here is Careers at SDA. Very exciting initiative. The main event for careers is Career Month in April, where we have a series of events and workshops all throughout the month pertaining to professional development. One of those events is a Saturday all-day event in collaboration with our school, UCLA, and Center Theater Group, which is, as some of you may know, one of the larger theater groups in Los Angeles. It is hosted at the Center Theater Group offices in downtown Los Angeles, and they bring lots of different professionals for master classes, workshops, and networking events. Spotlight at SDA is probably our most frequent event, where we usually bring someone pretty big from the industry to come in and talk about their experiences, their life, and their career. Typically, these spotlight events are moderated by one of our faculty members, and we usually have a Q&A session afterwards. The big spotlight event in the spring is actually our School of Dramatic Arts and School of Cinematic Arts mixer, which happens at the beginning of the spring semester. So keep an eye out for those. You'll probably see the spotlight events most frequently. Post-play and talkback, very much related. Talkback occurs after every main stage SDA show on the Monday after the show. That's moderated by Oliver Mayer, one of our resident fellows that lives in Parkside. It's an open forum style where students, staff, and faculty are welcome to talk about some of the themes and topics of the show. Post-play at SDA occurs after some of our main stage shows, where we usually bring someone who's associated with the show to come and talk about their experience. Last year, we were lucky enough to have a writer, one of the writers of our main stage shows, come in for post-play, as well as some of the actors that actually put the show on in Broadway. So definitely check those out. The next initiative is New Media at SDA. It's a very fun, very new initiative, where it's a series of workshops, classes, programming that integrates new media and technology into our training here at the School of Dramatic Arts. During your time here, you'll notice a lot new camera and new technology courses, as well as workshops that we'll be offering. Salon and SDA is a weekly seminar series offered for our graduating seniors and MFA students, where they meet kind of in a smaller seminar setting with a professional every week to kind of, and topics include usually transitioning from school to the workplace and preparing for that transition. For those of you who are interested in podcasts, Dean David Bridell actually has a monthly podcast that's recorded, produced, and everything is created here at the School of Dramatic Arts. Last year's topic was our season and some of the shows of the season. I'm not sure what this year's focus will be, but if you're looking to start some podcasts, it's definitely one to listen to. And then Live Read, one of our new really fun initiatives where we actually bring a professional team that's trying to workshop a musical, and they cast their students, their managers, their designers, and they actually rehearse the show and perform the show at the end of the semester. This past year, we had one live read in the fall and one live read in the spring. And depending on interest, we may add another live read in the summer as well. So these are some of the new initiatives created by Dean David Bridell. Keep an eye out for these logos. If you see them on any flyers or emails, you know it's us. Finally, our expectations of our students. We know that you are all coming in as transfer students and have attended college already. But we do expect all of our students to play an active role in your education, and that all of you should become self-advocates during your time here at USC. If you have any questions at all, please let us know. Both Daniel and I feel like we're your first line of defense here at USC. So we'll definitely try and assist if you have any questions. If we can't help you, we'll definitely refer you to someone who can. We expect all students to uphold the academic integrity and the USC Code of Conduct here at USC. USC has a whole judicial wing of student affairs, and they take it very, very seriously. And if you see any violations, please let an advisor know, TA know, or your instructor know. And this would be very important for you to pay very close attention to web registration and other information on OASIS, including your permit to register date, as well as the advisement timeline on the SDA student portal. And as you'll see once you do the web registration tutorial, navigating the web reg interface can be a little tricky, and you'll need to pay close attention to some of the messages that it gives you. All official email communications from USC, from the department, from the advisors will be sent to your USC email account. So please check and manage your USC email account regularly. I know it's connected to Gmail. It may seem like you have tons of space, but it does fill up. So if it fills up, you won't be able to get some of those important emails. So please make sure that you have space. And be informed. We have a lot of information on our DRC bulletin boards, a lot of information on the SDA student portal. So please check it out and be informed and be updated. And attend as many SDA events as possible, including all of our initiative events. If we continue to see a really good turnout, gives us more reason to create more programming and more events for our students. Now, the first two events for our students will be are listed here. The New Student Ice Cream Social, which is now called the SDA Scoop, because it's ice cream, will be Thursday of Welcome Week, August 17th at 2 o'clock. This will be at the Bing, and this will be for all new incoming freshmen and transfer students. And then at the completion of the social, we'll actually walk right over to the grand opening of the UC Village. So very excited for that. During the first week of school, we will have our all-school SDA meeting. That will be on Tuesday, August 22nd at 5. This will also be at the Bing. All SDA students are expected to attend. We'll also have some staff and some faculty members in attendance as well. And we're going to have a pizza party. And as you know, all of you have been college students previously, that any free food is the best food, right? So come on down, have some pizza with us, and you can also pick up your Rush sticker. Last trivia question before we head over to Act 3. When can transfer students audition for an SDA main stage show?
Now.
Now, exactly. So the first semester while you're here, you can audition for that. Now, there are some restrictions for freshman students. They're not allowed to audition till later, but we feel that as transfer students, you folks have adjusted to life in college and should be able to make that transition a little better. So you can audition now. Act 3 registration. Any questions about Act 2 before we move forward?
No.
Okay, great. So I'll talk about what we need for registration. I'll go over the registration worksheet that we will email to all of our students, as well as a walkthrough of our SDAG course guide. And I think we'll save the web reg tutorial for the individual one-on-one appointments that you need to set up with your advisor. So what do we need for registration? What we need is your USC Net ID, login, and password. So if you're able to log into My USC and access your email, great. If not, please call ITS, and this is their number listed on there, to reset your password. You will not be able to register or do anything on web registration unless you're able to log into My USC. Okay. We'll also need a web registration worksheet, and you can disregard the timing on that. This is a presentation we use for our on-campus events. Each of you will be emailed a pre-registration worksheet that will look a little something like this. Each of you will have a different worksheet with different courses, depending on what your previous coursework that we're able to find. So essentially in the worksheet, what you'll find is your information, your name, your first and last name, your UC ID, and your email. Also on there is a recommended theater schedule, as well as room for GE core literacies or GE courses if you're in the old GE. Now, if you notice here on this worksheet, this particular student, Tommy Trojan, is taking Theta 101 and 125. As transfer students, you may have brought in something similar to 101 and 125. Now, each advisor, both Danny and myself, has reviewed every student's individual record from what the information that we have at this point, and we've kind of made recommendations based on the information that we have. So some of you may be taking 101 and 125, some of you may be taking some other courses, so each of you will have a separate worksheet. Also listed on there will be a weekly schedule. We typically plug in the theater courses, and then you can fit your GEs around there. We also left some room on the right hand side to write down some notes, so we would encourage you to clearly list some options for your GE courses or the foreign language sections that you'd like to plan for. And then for our off-campus students, what we'll do and include in the notes section on the bottom will be the GE categories to avoid because you've either fulfilled them with AP courses or previous transfer courses. So those would be something to plan for. Okay. We would encourage you to identify at least 3 options each for GE courses, and if you're planning for the foreign language course, at least 3 options for that as well. As you may know, some GE and some college lectures here also require a lab or discussion section. So don't forget to add those as well. And then we would encourage you to use this worksheet during registration, and we'll have these available before your individual appointments with your advisor. Normally, you would use the schedule of classes to identify and look for some of these GE courses. You can access the schedule of classes by visiting classes.usc.edu, or you can go to the USC homepage, click popular links on the top, and click schedule of classes. The schedule of classes is great because it lists every department and all the GE courses, the times and availability for each course. Also included on there are declearance information. So if you need clearance for a particular course, the contact information for each department can be found online. Once your schedule is finalized, you can actually use the final exam schedule worksheet to find out when your final exams are. And there's also some other important UC links and information. Now, the schedule of classes is great because it has a lot of information, but it's a little limiting because each course description for the class on the schedule of classes usually only gives about a sentence each. So what we would encourage you is to use the GE course guide. The GE course guide is put out by the GE department every semester, and they collect longer course descriptions on each of the GE courses that are offered here. Now, the GE course guide is great because it offers more information about the GE courses, and it clearly notes which GE courses fulfill which categories. But it's a little limiting because there's no course information. It doesn't offer when it's offered, what time it's offered, how many students are currently registered. So typically you would jump back between the GE course guide and the schedule of classes to kind of look for GE options. Now, what we've done to kind of help you is we've combined both of these websites and the information in both, and we've created a Google Doc, and we're calling it the SDA GE course guide. This Google Doc is available at this link here. It's bit.ly, or bit.ly for short, /SDA GE guide. SDA GE is case sensitive. If you decide to visit this website, you may do so after today's presentation. If you do go to it, please click File and make a copy so that you can readily edit it for your use. Now, in order to get the transfer course guide to work, you do need to adjust some filters up on the top, and your advisor can help you with that during your individual one-on-one appointment. In order to assist with that most effectively, it would be good if your appointment was over Skype or Hangout, so the advisor could see your screen to help you with the filters. Then the nice thing about the GE course guide is that we've clearly noted which GE courses fit with your particular schedule. Now, for transfer students, we will need to play with the filters a little bit so that the GE courses that you see are the ones that fit with your schedule. It's also sortable tables. So if you want to look for certain courses, you can do so there. And it also identifies some of our double dipping GE. So students in the old GE, if you're looking for a GE that double dips with diversity, you can identify those. For the students in the new GE program, if you're looking for GE courses in B or C that also fulfill G and H, we've clearly identified those as well. And then what we've done is we've included the longer course descriptions from the GE course guide. The only thing that this GE course guide does not have is live updates on current enrollment in the course. So if you're on the GE course guide, it just means it's offered. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's seats available. So you still need to use web registration to check to see if there's seats available in those GEs. Okay. If you go on it now, it may seem a little confusing. So during your one-on-one appointment, your advisor can definitely help with navigating this tool. And finally, our last slide here is some information on advising and our policies. Our main office is located in Drama Center 104, and that's our main line. The advisor's direct contact information is right there. Again, Daniel works with the students' last names A through K, and myself, Isaac, I work with the students' last names L through Z. Now, all students here at the School of Dramatic Arts are required to meet with your advisors every semester. Now, in this case, we're having a general advising session right now, but each cannot attend student must schedule an individual advisement appointment next week with their advisor. Advisement in the regular semester will begin in September for junior level students. We will email all students on when to come in and how to schedule their appointment online on My USC. Now, if you want to come in before then, you can sign up for day of or walk-in appointments in our front office, DRC 104. During weeks 1 and 2, we have walk-ins available every day. During weeks 3 and after, walk-in are available every Friday because that's when we start full-length appointment. So that's our information on advising and our policy. And I think that concludes our brief presentation today. I do want to remind everyone that we will send out the link to this video to all Canada Attend students, as well as a reminder to call our front office to schedule your individual appointment with your advisor. For our students who are joining us today, do you have any questions? Any general questions?
Sure.
Questions?
So I had a transfer agreement from my city college, and I believed I filled all the sections I had. So is it possible that I will still have some general education to do, or some transfers are already done with this whole section?
That's certainly a conversation to have. I mean, again, every student comes in with various requirements that they may have satisfied from other campuses. Each case is unique. I don't want to discuss your situation because this is being recorded and there are other students also. So you and I will discuss the specifics regarding to your situation, and we'll be able to discuss what you satisfied and what's remaining.
Great.
Okay. And so, as Isaac just pointed out a little bit ago, we will we'll encourage you to reach out to us to schedule that appointment. Now, is anyone currently internationally right now, like not in the U.S.? Gianluca. Okay, so Gianluca, maybe at the end of this, you and I can stay on for a second, and we can figure out what's a good time and date for you to meet. Potentially, if not a Skype session, phone session. So we can talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Any other general questions, Katie?
No. Can I call right after this to schedule my advising thing?
Sure. Actually, if I'm just going to stop the broadcast right